Hello, everybody. Glad you could join us for today's It Has Nothing to Do with Age or Gender. My partner, Tony Brickle, unfortunately is not here. However, we have a terrific guest, or I have a terrific guest. The show has a terrific guest. Everybody who's producing this, we have a terrific guest here, Kirk Edgerton. And actually, before we get into talking about Kirk and his stories and his exploits and everything, there's a quote that I'm going to read to him and ask him how it relates to his life. But I wanted to share with you a little story today before coming down. It has nothing to do with age. This is today's book. The next book that I'm writing has to do with mental toughness, and that's the theme of this program. And I'm using information from this program as well as interviewing individuals who played at the University of Michigan and also went into the professional career afterwards. Our first guest of our season was Mike Keller. He was from that 1969 team. Well, anyway, one of his teammates I'm interviewing today, Fritz Seiferth, also was an assistant athletic director at the University of Michigan. And in 1988, they were doing a fundraising to build more modern facilities in Ann Arbor, where University of Michigan is located. So Bo Schembechler, the coach, became athletic director. He said, Fritz, let's get Gerald Ford to head the fundraising program. Gerald Ford, president, also played football at the University of Michigan, was an All-American there as a center in the 20s. So Fritz is telling me some stories about his meeting with Gerald Ford. And he said, this man is so unassuming. He's the man that you would find next, if you knocked on somebody's door, it'd be like him coming to the corner, opening the door. No pretenses. Anyway, so one story he tells about Gerald Ford is he had his picture taken, Fritz's father and brother, and they had their picture taken with Gerald Ford at one of the country clubs down in Southern California, Palm Springs, I believe. Anyway, so in the picture, one of the individuals has their name tag on. It's President Ford. Anyway, so I thought that was hilarious. And then in the other story is that Fritz is giving a talk to alumni raising funds, and in the front row is President Ford, and Fritz asked if anybody in the audience has any questions. So President Ford raises his hand. Fritz is taken back by this. He says, I just didn't know what or how to respond. So what I wound up doing is I can't tell you today what the question was, or even if I answered the question. It was just so unusual to be the president raising his hand and who's sitting in the first row. So that were just two of the stories by General President Ford. It wasn't General, President Ford. Anyway, so we have Kirk here on my left, and Kirk, it's a pleasure to bring you to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And we're going to find out a little bit about Kirk and about his parents.
It's going to be exciting.
This is going to be very exciting. And we're going to start with your definition of mental toughness, but before we do that, we want to relate that to the quote by Ivan Turgenev. And the quote is, if we wait for the moment when everything is ready, we shall never begin.
It's a good quote.
You like that quote?
I like it.
Okay, how does it relate to you and your life?
Two things pop up instantly when you say that is, I don't think there's really ever a perfect time to do anything.
What do you mean by perfect?
it's hard to get everything together and perfect at one time to make a decision. A lot of those decisions that I think he's relating to are big decisions in life.
Such as?
One that we made, gosh, over a year ago was me and my wife Jenny's decision to have a child. And I don't think you can really prepare yourself. And if you delay it, you're still kind of where you're at. You just need to make sure as much as you can get together is perfect and right.
This is a young man talking. You think this is based on knowledge or his limited experience or
Yes.
what?
But it's big decisions are hard to make, and I don't think there's really any perfect or great time for it. So it's just something you have to take that leap of faith, and you have to say, this is what we're going to do. We've tried to get as much in place as we can. Let's move forward. So having a child was a big decision to make.
Where was Jenny on this in terms of her notion of the perfect time, or was she with you? Was she not with you?
We were on the same page. As we have great careers, we have a home, we really enjoy our life, and we wanted to add
Tell us
something
about
to
your
it.
careers,
Okay.
and then we're going to get into
Okay.
that.
I work for Fleet Feet Sports in Fair Oaks, California, and then Jenny works for Fleet Feet Sports in Roseville.
Okay, keep that in mind because we're going to go back
Fleet
to
Feet
that.
is a specialty running store for runners and walkers.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so
And so making the decision, we were right on the same page. We had what we thought, everything in place, and we wanted to bring someone else into the world, and it was an easy decision to make, but it is for sure a life changer. So everything in your life changes. I believe you have kids as well, so it's been an amazing experience. He's 5 months old now, or will be probably next week, so it's been fun. And another thing relating to that quote is 5 years ago I quit a career of 11 years. I decided one day it's something I don't want to do anymore.
what career was
I was
that?
in sales.
What kind of sales?
Industrial supply stuff.
Industrial supplies.
So I worked for some big companies, and being in sales wasn't something I enjoyed or wanted to do any longer. So I chose to leave.
You're still in sales, aren't you?
Customer service.
Customer service. It was
Yes.
just different than sales.
Different. And for me, I needed to make a career change, and I wanted to do something that I would really enjoy and was passionate about. So I left my other career with nothing lined up. And I knew making that leap would drive me to do something that I wanted to do. And I figured if I found a passion and a way to make money out of it, all the better.
Was there a crisis in your life at that
No.
time? No crisis? Well, okay. How did that develop, that idea that I don't want to do this? You've been doing this for 11 years. And how long did it take you to make that decision?
It was more towards, of the 11 years, probably 8 of it. I don't think I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy a lot of the people I worked with, and I didn't enjoy the products I was selling.
So was there a perfect time to leave?
Nope.
Like the quote?
Nope. It was to the point where you either make the decision and you take a leap, or you suck it up and stick with it.
So why did you wait so long then? If 8 years was it long?
It
that
was.
last-
It was a long career, and I knew, and I looked at the people around me, and I go, I don't want to do what they do at their age. I want to do something that's fun. I've always heard of people enjoying their job and liking what they do. I never understood that, but it's something I wanted to have in my life.
What did you see that you didn't like? Or what was it about that job that you didn't like?
I didn't enjoy it.
What part?
None of it. I got no satisfaction.
None of it.
Paycheck was nice.
Okay.
At the end of the day, there was no satisfaction in.
Even though you're selling, you're making goals, meeting
Didn't enjoy it.
company goals,
Enjoy
and
it. I wanted to be part of something else, something that I enjoyed, and I like helping people, and I like to help them reach their goals. So I knew I'd find something. I didn't know what it was, but I walked away and luckily found something I love to do and enjoy.
So how does mental toughness fit into this 11-year career, changing jobs? Does it fit?
It does fit. I think I have an interesting ability to suffer, and that's in things I do, hobbies I have, and the running and the decisions I make. I'm able to put myself in an uncomfortable situation, and I'm able to push through it. Happens a lot in running, happens a lot in life.
So that's part of your definition of mental
Yes.
toughness, is being in difficult situations and still pushing, moving forward.
Because most of the situations you're in, whether it's running or hiking, it's physical. You're not, most of these things you're not going to die. So the desire to quit and stop, to me, is all mental. Like, I've been in situations in the mountains, backpacking, where there's storms, there's trees falling. You're probably not going to die. You just need to make smart decisions, and having good mental toughness to make those smart decisions and to fix the problem or to move on, to me, is pretty important.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's been fun, but yeah, a lot of tough decisions. And going back to the quote, there's never a perfect time, but a lot of times you just have to take the leap of faith and change your life to make it better.
So you knew having your son Tyler would be a leap of faith.
It's been a change, but a great change, which I knew it would be.
We'll talk about that.
But it's
talk
still
about
scary.
that. Talk about that. That's your first. So,
Yeah,
and you're like turning 40-ish.
Yeah, I'll be 40 in 2 months.
Okay, so tell us how that changed.
So it's been a good change. As I think the older you get, the more set in your ways you are. So my life is very structured. I go to work. Work's not super structured, but we're helping people all day, and then I come home and run, and I do things on the weekend, and it's just been a little bit of a change as I'm better at time management now. So I'm not running the miles and hours I used to, but now I'm still able to run 3-4 days a week. But when I go run now, it's usually an hour block, and I make that hour block count. So I run hard and do hill repeats or speed or tempo, and get the workouts done quicker so I can come home and see the family.
Okay. Tell our audience what the difference between a repeat and a tempo run.
A tempo run is achieving a certain pace or cadence or heart rate or speed for a certain amount of time. So let's say your average run is a 9-minute mile. In a tempo run, you're going to run an 8-minute mile, which is a little bit quicker. You're going to hold that for 20 minutes. And then a repeat is you run up a hill, you run down a hill, you run up a hill, and repeat that.
You have some favorite repeats?
I do, and they're all in, me and Frank live in the same neighborhood, so they're all in the neighborhood. Yes.
Okay. All right, so the quote fits. You like the quote?
Yes.
What part of the quote do you like?
It's the whole meaning, and that might inspire someone to make the decision. There's no perfect time.
Not to wait.
Don't wait. Do it now. Don't be that person who's 60 years old who hates their job and has for 40 years. Make the decision. Nothing's going to change unless you change it.
So did you talk about this, I'll call it a crisis in your life, that you're going to change, you're going to leave your job, a well-paying job? Mm-hmm. Were you married at the time?
It was 3 weeks before I got married.
3 weeks before you got married.
Good timing.
Did you and Jenny discuss this?
Oh, yes.
So she knew you were going to...
Yeah, she knew I was unhappy, and she saw the person it was turning me into, and I think it was starting to affect me physically too. And she goes, quit. She goes,
Okay.
You'll find something else, find something better. She was very, very supportive.
Very
It
supportive.
was amazing, yes.
Did you talk to anybody else about this?
I talked to my dad, who was in sales for 30-something years, and I kind of told him my plan, and he goes, I wish I would have done the same thing when I was younger.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad, Eric. Okay, and Eric is how old?
He's, I believe, 64.
Okay, Eric's about 64.
Mm-hmm.
So Eric was in sales for 30-some years,
Mm-hmm.
back in
Back Michigan and then Tennessee.
Michigan and Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So he supported you by saying he didn't take that opportunity.
I think by the time he realized that sales wasn't what he wanted to do, is he had me and my brother, who's a couple years older. He had 2 young boys, and he needed to support the family. So he made the decision where he's going to stick with it and make a good career out of it, and be able to provide for us, which is, I think, something great to do. Is he sacrificed maybe a little bit of what he wanted to do professionally for the betterment of his family, which worked out.
Did you know prior to this that he was unhappy with
No.
being in sales?
And I don't think he was unhappy his whole career, but I just, there's tides and flows with sales. It's never what you've done, it's always what you're going to do.
Related to this, Fritz, who I talked about earlier. Fritz was, after professional football, he started working for Arthur Young, and he was moving up the corporate ladder, but of course that meant he wasn't around with his family, and he just had 2 children at the time, 2 young kids, and his wife was unhappy, and she had a picture of Fritz in his football uniform on the refrigerator and say, yeah, your kids they're going to find out who you are. They're going to see your picture. So Fritz made the decision to leave. And before leaving, he was talking to one of the executives in New York City, and they're in this high rise looking over the city, and he was telling this older man in his 60s that he was going to leave. And this man who's went up the corporate ladder said to him, I envy you. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Well done. I mean, hearing that story, who else did you hear, get feedback from, or input from during that time? Because that's still a big decision.
It's a big decision to make. My mom and dad, and then my soon-to-be wife Jenny were the big influencers in making that decision. They saw and knew I wasn't happy, and being supportive as they are, they said, make the leap, make the jump, and find something you'll enjoy to do. So one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Super.
Great. Yeah.
So making a decision, even though you didn't know where you were going to be leaping to.
It's not a comfortable decision.
But but that's part of you, right? Doing the uncomfortable?
Yes, for sure, for sure. But yeah, it was an extremely difficult decision to make. It wasn't done overnight. It was thought out, and it was a process. And financially, to leave a lucrative job, you've got to have things in place. So I saved and scrounged, and I knew that I had a certain amount of time I could walk away and would be okay and be able to take care of myself and my family.
So this was a plan. This wasn't impulsive.
No, this isn't something you go in and
This is
decide
that you
one day.
planned a little bit differently than your first marathon, you told me.
I did not plan that. Yeah. That was a bad plan because there wasn't one.
Okay, so you would recommend planning, researching?
For most big decisions, you better plan.
Okay. Were there other big decisions that took this planning that you planned?
No, it was being set financially, and then that was really it. I had no idea where my career would take me or what I was going to do, but I think I'm resourceful, and I knew I'd find something that I enjoyed.
Okay. Where'd you go to college?
I went to college at East Tennessee State University.
East Tennessee
in Johnson
State.
City, Tennessee.
Okay.
About 15,000 students. Nice smaller school, and it was about 2 hours from where I grew up.
And what was your major?
It was advertising and marketing.
Advertising and business.
Sales.
Sales.
Prepping myself for a sales career.
Sales. Was this based on what your dad was doing?
Yeah, I think, I saw the fun he had, and, a slightly flexible work schedule, and it's something I wanted to pursue, and I enjoy the outdoors. I was hoping to get my foot in a company and get sales experience, and then move into the outdoor sales or outdoor world. That never happened because I think no matter what sales you're doing, it's still sales. Doesn't matter if you're selling that plant or your shoes. At the end of the day, it's still sales.
Okay.
And I don't look at my job now. There's no sales involved. It's helping people.
Helping people
reach their goals and things they want to do.
Okay. With shoes or beyond that?
It's advice or shoes or guiding them, for their whole walking and running career. It's kind of whatever they're looking for as I try to lend a hand and be a part of it.
Fleet Feet, Fair Oaks.
Thank you.
One of the places to go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your dad and maybe his upbringing.
Okay. He grew up in a great family, middle class, had 2 brothers that were older. They all played sports when they were young. And
what sports did your uncles play?
I believe they were all football, baseball.
Football,
I think at least two of the 3.
Okay. Was that in Ohio or Michigan?
That was in Ohio.
That was in Ohio. Okay.
Where he was raised.
Okay. Okay. So he comes from that Ohio powerhouse of football. It goes back many, many, many years.
And that was that, and then that was when Pete Rose got started in Cincinnati, which was close by. So yeah, that was kind of, I think that whole era then, football and baseball was king.
King. Okay. And you said your father played sports too.
Yep, he did. He played football through high school. I don't think he'd never played in college or afterwards, but...
And what kind of sports enthusiast is he today?
Football, baseball.
Football,
they live in
baseball.
Colorado, so yeah, football, watching University of Tennessee, football games.
He's still University of Tennessee?
And Michigan.
Did he go to school there?
No, Michigan.
Okay.
And then, so UT and then U of M and then pro football, and they go to Rockies games, which is the baseball team in Colorado. So yeah, they're sports fans.
So the Broncos, is that who he...
Yeah, Broncos, and then yeah, the Rockies as well.
Okay. So he goes to the games?
Yep. And I'm the complete opposite. I watch no sports.
Okay.
None.
Okay, so your dad likes sports, and your brothers, are they still involved in, your brother rather?
Yeah, my brother, he lives in Northern California. He's involved more in running now than anything. He's also assistant soccer coach for one of his daughter's soccer team. So
High school?
Yep. No, they're young. They're
Younger.
5.
5. Okay.
So he's involved in that. He's working on his 4th half marathon for the second half of this year. So
Where's that going to be?
it's in Healdsburg. I can't remember the name of the race, but they've got a lot of
races up
there's
there.
a lot of half marathons over there. They've
Yeah.
got actually a series, and if you complete 4 races in the series, I think you get a little wine goblet and a little party afterwards, which is neat.
Perfect.
Yes, fun.
Have you ever run a half marathon?
I've done quite a few.
Quite a few. But your running career started more recently, though.
Yeah, I would say I'm a late bloomer to running, which I really like, is because I started, I think I was 24 or 25.
Okay.
I never ran a step, competitively or on a track or in a race. I started when I was 25. I was overweight. I was about 40, 50 pounds heavier. I wanted to make some changes.
So
tried to get
you were
healthy.
close to 200 pounds?
Yeah, I was 205 at my heaviest.
205. And that was because of
Coming out of college and living a fairly unhealthy lifestyle.
unhealthy.
So lots of fast food, no cooking, not eating the right things, and probably drinking the wrong things.
In Tennessee?
Yes.
So what happened?
It was a lifestyle that was great through college, and I would have changed any of it. But when I got out and started working, I moved to South Carolina after I got out of college, and I didn't know anybody. So I was like, well, I might as well go out and buy a bike and start riding a bike.
Is that how it started?
That's how it started.
Okay.
And then I moved back to Tennessee and had a friend who ran, and we were trying to lose some weight. And so we started running, and I couldn't make it. I don't think I could make it a quarter mile. And that was
Running.
probably, yeah, I think that was 1998 is when I started.
You couldn't run a half a mile maybe because?
I was out of shape, a little
Out of shape.
overweight.
Overweight?
Yeah.
Did you know about running shoes back then?
No, I had no idea. No clue.
No clue?
I wore cotton boxer shorts, Umbro shorts, cotton t-shirt, and whatever running shoe I had, which no idea where I got it or how long I'd had it.
And isn't it humid in Tennessee?
It's a little bit, yes.
So running can't be fun when it's humid, is it?
It's challenging. Later on in life, I went back to Tennessee and ran for an hour and lost 7 pounds of water from the humidity in July. It's a little warm.
A little
A little warm.
Okay. That's what I hear. It's beautiful, but it's
Gorgeous.
But it's warm.
It's a great place to grow up, but yeah, it's a little humid in the summer.
Okay. And all right, so here you are out of college, South Carolina, back to Tennessee. What kind of, is this like road bike or mountain bike?
I started off doing just mountain biking, and then I rode it on the road. When I lived in South Carolina, I didn't know anywhere to go. I didn't know about specialty bike shops then. I didn't know I could go in a shop and say, here I am, where can I go ride a trail? I didn't know that's something you could do. So I just rode it on the road and started to gain a little bit of fitness and would ride with a couple people, and figured out that I was fairly competitive, wanted to be better.
How'd you find that out?
I remember it was a ride one day, and I smoked cigarettes back then too. So
Really unhealthy.
Yes, oh yeah. So, and this was as I was trying to make that transformation into being healthier. So I stopped the cigarettes and was riding with a guy one time, and we were going up a hill, and I was like, for some reason I just wanted to try to beat him up the hill, and I ended up beating him up the hill, and I was like, I never really knew I was that competitive. and then that's kind of spiraled from there. So love racing. I'm competitive, I think, in a healthy way. Is if I'm racing a friend or if I'm racing you, I don't care who wins as long as we both have good races.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun.
That's neat.
Yeah.
That's neat. Okay. So would you say your father's competitive?
I don't think so, no.
How about Mom?
I think she is probably
Well,
more.
you're laughing, so
Yeah.
let's talk
She
a little.
did. My first marathon was in Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
Okay.
And then when my mother was turning 60, she decided that she wanted to do a half marathon.
Okay.
So I was kind of her virtual coach from afar. And so we built a training program. We, talked probably 3, 4, 5 times a week. We talked about her training, what to do. And then in the race, I flew out there with my wife to watch her do the race and to kind of be there with her and to run with her. And I remember we're at some aid station. She saw a lady. She goes, "I think that lady's in my age group. Let's beat her." And I was like, "That's perfect. I love it." And so she ended up beating her, which was
All
great.
right.
Yeah.
All
So it was
right.
neat to see her do her first half marathon at, I think a little bit older age. And then she hasn't done one since. She did it and was proud of it, and we were all there to watch her and support her.
How about growing up? Was she competitive
I don't
growing
think
up?
so. No.
You don't remember that?
No, not at all. And then me
Okay.
and my brother, there was really no competition between us.
Okay. Okay. And sports for her?
Sports for her? I don't believe so. She grew up in a very small town, lived on a farm, so it was work.
Work.
Yep.
So she knows work.
She's a very hard worker, strong
Okay.
work ethic.
Okay. What about her parents and
Parents, the farmers.
farmers?
Yep. So there was, you grew and raised what you ate and sold what you could, and I think it was a great way to grow up. Very
And how
unique.
come you went this other way? I mean, here you have...
I could be a farmer, would love it. Got it. Yeah.
Now, but not back
then,
not
yeah.
back then. What were you thinking?
I don't know. Wanted to make a lot of money.
Is that was the goal?
I think that's what drove me to, kind of
Sales.
a career in sales was a way to make a lot of money.
Mhm.
And then I realized that money doesn't really bring you a lot of happiness. So if you make 20 grand or you make 100 grand, you're still spending what you make, and I think being happy is more important.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you make, if you're happy and enjoy what you do, then good for you. If you enjoy going to work each day, that's, I think, one of the best things in the world.
So really at about 35, you've developed this philosophy.
Mhm.
Prior to that, you were...
I think, had the mental toughness or unwillingness to make changes, big changes in my life.
Unwillingness to make changes. Okay. Okay.
Because big decisions are hard to make, and a lot of times if you make those big decisions, sometimes things don't always go right. So, I think being scared and being smart was probably why I delayed it so long.
Talk about being scared.
You don't know if you're gonna, because this was when the economy and the recession we're hitting
That's right.
rock bottom.
That's right. That's right.
There are no jobs.
That's right.
No one's hiring.
5
Especially-
years ago, that's right.
Especially in the field that I was in, which was sales. People don't want to hire you.
Uh-huh.
So I looked at
Did that have anything to do with it? The fact that the country was in big...
it did is companies were buying less. They're downsizing. They're laying people off. So if you've got 100 people and each person uses $20 worth of product a day, and now they're down to 50 people, well, they're buying less. So your sales numbers at the end of the day or the end of the month, the quarter and year, they're all going to be less. So that was part of it, but I don't know. I had to get out.
Didn't matter that the economy, when things were going down the tubes.
I knew I could find a way to make some money.
Okay. Okay. And how did you wind up Fleet Feet?
Doing what I do now.
Yeah. How did that occur?
It's a pretty good story. When I moved to California in 2001, I was in sales and was kind of fine-tuning my athletic career and what I wanted to do. Was
Okay.
doing a lot of triathlons at the time. And I
Okay.
shopped at the local running store, which was Fleet Feet.
Were you living in that part of...
I was living in Roseville.
In Roseville,
Yep.
okay.
And so I'd
Okay.
go in there. People were super friendly, always helped me out. I really enjoyed the kind of, relationship I built with the people there. I think if you're going to any specialty shop, whether it's ski or bike, the relationships you build in the stores are extremely important. So I'd go in there and talk to them, and then one day the manager's like, she goes, "Do you just want to work here?" And I was like,
Were you hanging out a lot there?
yeah, it was fun. But I was exercising a lot at the time and needed a lot of things to kind of fuel my passion. So started working there and would work just a couple days a week. Would work like on a weekend, and then would do like a closing shift during the week. So I did that for a couple years, maybe like 15, 20 hours a week. And I did that more because I didn't know anybody when I moved here. So I used it as a way to meet people.
So you didn't know Jenny at this time?
No, just from her working at the store.
Oh, okay.
She's been there 14 years now, so she was there at that time.
It's in Roseville?
So I used it as a way to meet people, and then I used it as a way to get discounts on things that I was using a lot of.
Yeah, that's good.
So
That's right, you get discounts
bikes
too.
are expensive, and then everything you need for being a mountain biker, triathlete, and runner, that all adds up. So I've looked at it as a good way to meet folks and to get some discounts on things that I need to buy.
Perfect.
And then I did that for a while, and then time-wise, it was just too much of a commitment. Sales was kind of growing to be a bigger beast, so I walked away from Fleet Feet on great terms. And then after I left that career, I knew the local owner was...
So this is only a couple of years?
Yeah, I did it for a couple years.
Couple
maybe
years,
2,
okay.
3 years.
Okay.
And then once I left the sales career and was looking for something, as I heard the owner of the local Fleet Feet stores was needing someone to do marketing and some advertising stuff, and that's my degree. I know the local running market. I know a lot of people involved in it, and so I went and talked to him, and it was a good fit for both of us, and it started from there, and then turned into managing the store and doing a lot of things for the store. So it's been fun.
So it evolved.
It did.
And so sports facilitated this.
Yes. Most of the friends I have, my wife, my job is all involved from sports, all from running, which I never did till I was 25. So I owe running pretty much everything I have.
Okay. All right, so but you were doing the bike in South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
and then you started running in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And what caused just to lose weight?
I did. One of my roommates at the time he wanted to lose like 15 pounds, and I probably needed to lose a lot more than that. So we kind of had a competition to see who was going to lose the most weight in a certain time frame. So I figured out how to eat healthy, how to cook for myself.
And you had a buddy to do this
Yes. Yep.
Perfect.
I needed that competition.
Perfect.
Needed the competition to drive me. And then I had another buddy who was doing some 5Ks. And so I went and did a 5K. And I clearly remember a 11-year-old girl with blonde hair passing me. And then the competition drove me to start figuring out how to run.
You didn't
do
want
it more days per
11-year-olds
week.
to beat you?
She did that
You
day.
didn't want that to happen?
No. It was funny though, but I'm glad it happened because that spurred me to want to train more. And I had no idea how to train, but I figured if you do more, you're going to get better. So I ended up running more and kind of spiraled into now.
Now, this is what you do.
Yeah, this is my job.
So tell us a little about what you do at Fleet Feet then.
So it's customer service. It's people coming in the store, and someone might come in and have plantar fasciitis and needs a shoe to help that or a stretch to do. So a lot of it's problem solving, and a lot of it's helping people kind of reach their goals. I love when people come in and go, I've never run a 5K before, I want to. And then I remember running my first 5K. I know what that feels like. There might be another person comes in that goes, I want to run a 100-mile race. I want to do this. I want to do an Ironman. I was like, I can help you. I know what you're going through. I know some of the struggles and hurdles you might need to leap over. So I like to help people. And at the end of the day, a lot of times we're going to end up buying something that you have. So it's a great job to have.
Okay.
If you are passionate about running and you love the industry, I don't think there's a better thing to do with your time.
And you met your wife?
Yeah, met my wife through there as well.
Through there as well?
Yep.
Okay.
And we're both there still.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about maybe your most difficult challenges running.
Yeah, oh yeah. There's been few.
Should we
There's been a lot.
Should we talk
might need
about
3
that?
hours for that.
Should we talk about that first marathon? Would that be an illustration of that?
The first marathon was an epic failure on all levels. I didn't plan for it, and I didn't train for it, and I didn't know what I was doing. But I had no really...
And what year would this have been?
I think this was 99 or 2000.
So you're back in...
I was living in Salt Lake City at the time.
Salt Lake
I'd been
City.
transferred out there.
Okay.
And so chose a marathon, which was a really good one. Thought it'd be easy. It was all downhill, but
Thought it would be easy.
started at 84,000 feet.
Eighty-four hundred.
8,400, yes, not 84,000.
It'd be
That'd be a little high.
It'd be higher.
So it was in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. It actually started, I guess, east of there. It was a point-to-point race. It was a net downhill. My brother lived in Steamboat at the time, so I get to see him. I got somebody to take me to the start, pick me up at the finish. So to me, it was great. And then not having a running store to go to or a resource, I bought a running book, which is by Hal Higdon, which is a great book. Anybody who's training for their first marathon, it's a great one to get. I unfortunately didn't follow the book. I read it. I really liked it. I liked the training program. I liked what he had to say, and it all made sense.
But you didn't
to
follow?
me. No.
So what did you like about it?
It was good information.
But yeah,
But I didn't really take it all in.
Because?
For me to do something, I think I need to learn on my own. So I need to do things wrong to figure out how to do them right. And I did a lot of things wrong. My longest run was 13 miles. I think I did that 3 times, and it was trail miles. It was on the Bonneville Shoreline Trail above Salt Lake City. So they were longer runs, but there was a lot of vertical gain, which wasn't what I was training for. I didn't get the pounding on my legs of running on the road and on the asphalt. I didn't realize that.
Is that what this run was on
Yeah, it was
the
all
asphalt? Okay.
I didn't realize that you needed to fuel your body and to hydrate your body during a race. So at elevation, you sweat, the perspiration tends to evaporate a little quicker, so you're not really sure of your sweat ratio. So I don't think I got any water until the 24-mile mark, and I never ate anything. So that caloric deficit that I got myself in early multiplied the longer I got in the race. And I remember at the 24-mile mark when I got some water, the lady asked me a question, and whatever came out of my mouth wasn't a word. It was a mumbo-jumbo of expression, I think. And I remember it was just kind of a slow death crawl from there. So I think I failed epically at that race, well, except that I hit my time goal. I wanted to break 4 hours.
How did that happen?
I have absolutely no idea. I ran way too hard for probably 18 miles, crashed, and then had somehow banked enough time. Not the way one should run a race by any means. But I set what I thought was an obtainable goal. Things went really bad.
You remember what you based that goal on, that 4 hour?
Sound like a good mark.
Sounded like, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have no idea how I picked that.
Okay.
And so it wasn't a great experience, but I learned a lot from it. As I learned that you need to eat, you need to drink, you need to train properly. And I think from that race forward, as I took my training a little more serious and I tried to educate myself a little bit more.
Okay. So any other difficult runs that you had?
There's probably about 4,000 of them.
So running is not easy,
No.
regardless of how
No.
you cut it. Okay. All right.
But,
Some are maybe more difficult than others.
Yeah, I think when you're doing things when you're running a marathon or you're doing an ultra or you're doing a mountain bike race or triathlon, if you're out there for a long enough period of time, there's a really good chance things could go bad. If you don't make the right decisions early on, things tend to kind of go bad later on.
It may not have even to do with the decision.
Yeah.
Maybe just because of the trail.
99% of the time it's from a decision I've made.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
I did an 8-hour mountain bike race in Cool, and this is probably, I've done a lot of mountain bike racing.
Okay.
So I was doing an 8-hour mountain bike race, and you do a loop on the Olmsted Loop, and you ride until the race is over, until the 8-hour mark hits. So I was riding too fast, too early. It was hot, not enough fluid, not enough sodium or electrolytes for my body, which is what your body needs to keep processes and everything going. And I remember I was riding through a shady section, and I was like, I don't feel good, and I feel cold. And that's not a good sign. That's your body warning you something's going on. So remember, the shady spot looked really nice, so I stopped, and I just kind of was leaning on my bike, and I was like, I need to lie down. And so I was lying down in the trail, just off to the side as my friends were riding by, and it was another good reminder that make good decisions early in the race, which will lead to good decisions towards the end of the race. So it was too much too soon, and I ended up pulling out of the race at, I think, like the 5-hour mark. Mm-hmm. So it was a DNF, did not finish, and it wasn't something I enjoyed. So I came back the next year with a little bit different attitude and a little different strategy, and it worked out a lot better.
Okay. How much mountain biking have you done?
A lot, yeah, a lot.
A lot?
Was a solely mountain bike racer for about 4 years.
What period was that?
This was, gosh, probably 2007 through 2010, something like that.
So were you primarily a mountain racer at that during that period?
Mountain bikes.
Mountain bike racer at that, more so than the ultra running?
Oh yeah, no, I never. Yeah, I'm a late bloomer to ultra running too.
Okay, so let's go back. So you mentioned triathlons also. So
I have the tendency
what's the history here of if there's a
I have the tendency to do things for a 3 or 4 year block. So it started off running. And that was when I started back in Tennessee, learning how to run. That lasted for about 3 years, and then I moved into triathlons.
Okay.
Really enjoyed that. Enjoyed the bike aspect. Realized that.
Were they the full, the half, or what?
I did. The full is the only thing I didn't do. The one full that I trained 6 months for, I drove 10 hours to go to. A storm happened. A guy ended up dying on the swim. It took him 2 hours to account for everybody and figure out where they're at in the lake because all the buoys blew out of the lake. So it took them 2 hours to account for everybody. Had to walk over a mat. Once they found everybody and realized that only one person is gone, unfortunately, is they turned it into a half Ironman duathlon. So that was my one go at an Ironman, and after that I was like, done.
Okay.
And so that was, I think, the last triathlon I did, road triathlon, and then I moved into xterra triathlons. I love trail running. I like the mountain bike. And so I did that for a couple years, and then I got back into, when I met Jenny and we started dating, she was a runner, and so I started running more to spend time with her.
Okay.
And then that running lasted a while and kind of did everything I wanted to do, and then I was like, let's see if I can go a little bit farther.
So where did the swimming come in?
I never practiced swimming. I hate it.
How did you do a triathlon then?
The swim part to me was just don't come in last. And then I was a decent biker, so I was like, I'll work hard on the bike and hard on the run. So I lost a lot of ground in the swim, and I was kind of to the point where it's like, if I want to do better and I want to hit maybe some other goals I had, I need to start swimming more. And swimming's, it's not social, it's not that exciting to me, so I figured I'd do something else. And the swims in xterra races, which is like a dirt triathlon, swims are much shorter, so it's less time in the water in the lake.
So you don't spend a whole lot of time swimming then?
Well, I spend none. No, I don't enjoy it at all. No.
So the only reason you did it was because of the triathlon?
Yeah, exactly. I did it.
You trained swimming?
No, not really.
Oh, you didn't?
I swam maybe once a week.
Okay.
It was for 15 minutes.
Okay.
I just, I knew that, and the thing with swimming too is I think form is, it's if you've got good form or you don't. Mm-hmm. Form's something that can be perfected, but I was swimming with people of all different shapes and body size, and I might be thinner than someone, but they're going to beat me out of the pool or lake by 10 minutes. They've got better form, and I didn't have great form and didn't want to really spend the time to work on it. So I spent more time biking. Figure if I'm a bad swimmer, I better be a good biker.
So is biking your favorite?
Running.
Running's your favorite. What's your best sport?
Biking.
Biking's your best. So tell me how you've arrived at that decision.
Even during triathlons, the bike portion was always the best, as I felt the freshest. I could climb really good. I've got bigger legs. I've got a little bit more power. And then when I went into pretty much just mountain bike riding, I thought I did really well for kind of my genetic ability, which I don't think is anything extraordinary. So I really enjoyed the bike portion. The only thing about biking is it takes a lot of time. And as
the training?
The training. It's
more than running?
It's double of running.
Really?
Yeah. It's a lot.
Really?
Ultra running's a completely different beast, but if you're training for a marathon, for me, biking, I had to do double of what I was going to run. So if I'm going to run for an hour, I better bike for 2. So I would bike 2 to 3 hours every day. And I think that accumulation of all that training, and then I did a lot of racing, as it just ended up leading to a burnout. I was doing a mountain bike race in Monterey and was climbing up a hill, was doing really well, was right where I wanted to be, and I was just like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And I pulled over to the side, and then that was the end of my mountain biking.
That was it? What year was that?
I don't even remember. A handful of years ago.
That was it?
Walked away.
You walked away.
I'll go back occasionally and do a mountain bike race, just for kind of fun.
Do you do any biking now?
Yeah. I've biked 3 times in 3 years.
So you have a bike, but you just...
Oh, I've got a lot of bikes. Yeah.
You have a lot of bikes?
So my 3 rides in 3 years were 2 races and then a metric century.
Okay.
Sometimes it's fun just to jump back in and see what you can do.
So you're able to do a century?
It's been a long time since I've done one. I think I could, but I think I would be in a lot of pain the next day.
Okay.
Areas.
So training would make sense to train to do a century.
Yes.
But you don't care for it that much?
No. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's on the road or what is it about biking that you got burnt out? What?
I biked a lot. It was a lot. It was every day. And it was just, I made a lot of great friends, and I loved the sport, but just at the end, it was just too much, and it was kind of the same thing.
Too much how?
Too much training, and I traveled a lot of different states to race and do things, and I just wanted to do...
So you were serious?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I liked it. It was fun. And then I just wanted to do something different, and, I've heard about local races, and I knew about Western States, and I was a good biker, but I was a bad runner. So I was like, well, if I'm good at something, I'm bad at something else besides swimming. Put that to the side. I wanted to get better at running. I wanted to spend more time with Jenny and kind of figure out running and maybe set some goals and see how long I could take to reach those goals.
It was all within the time that you met Jenny?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So is Jenny an ultra runner?
Yes.
Okay. So that helped then.
She was not at the time.
Not at that time?
No.
Okay.
She was not, I would say, a long-distance runner. She's a really good and gifted runner, but she never ran long distance.
Okay.
And then I kind of introduced her, because I knew all the local trails through mountain biking. I was like, well, let's go do a trail run and kind of this. So I've seen her, I think, grow in her running and kind of ultra and trail career.
So you were riding your bike on the Roby Trail?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Oh, good.
That's illegal.
That's illegal.
Yep.
Okay, so through biking you got to know the trails.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And so when did you start hearing about Western States? When did that?
Years ago when I was training, I ended up meeting one of the local race directors, Julie Fingar.
Okay.
And I knew she has done Western States and got to be friends with her, and she invited me to come out to Bath Road and walk from Bath Road to Forest Hill with her. So remember, I drove through Forest Hill. I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but this is something pretty special.
Was this during the States run?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is during Western States. So, and I didn't really know a whole lot about the race. I trained with the Buffalo Chips, which is a local running club a little bit. Okay. So I knew some of the people that run the race, but going there and walking up Bath Road with Julie was kind of the first time I experienced it. And I didn't really know what it was, and I didn't know a lot about it, but I was like, I remember seeing people come through at mile 62 in Forest Hill and go, that person is smiling, and he's run 62 miles, and he has 38 to go, and it's a long, hard 38. I was like, how do they do that? I was like, I didn't understand it.
What year might this have been, roughly?
You're
at Fleet Feet?
No.
This is before Fleet Feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was 2007, maybe, something like that.
Okay.
I'm not even sure. And then I saw the race and walked up with Julie, and she ended up having great races both years that I did that. But it was never a thought, this is something I want to do. It's 100 miles running.
But you were seeing people smiling.
Yeah, and for me, that was the hardest thing to comprehend, is like, how can you be in that place where you're having a good time? You've been out there 14 hours, you got 10 more, and they're enjoying it. And I always remember seeing those people. And I'd probably recognize the guy if I saw him today. I was like, I don't understand that. I don't get it. But I was like...
Were you not smiling during your biking?
There wasn't a lot of smiling, no.
Other people weren't smiling either?
Biking's a different beast because it's a cross-country mountain bike race is 3 hours at the most, so it's usually pretty intense, 3 hours.
Okay.
It's high heart rate. There's really not a lot of coasting. It's kind of on the throttle the whole time.
Okay.
But what I liked is when I saw those people come through, they're not running fast, and they're enjoying what they do. So I think that maybe planted the bug for later on when I kind of realized that was something I wanted to be a part of.
Okay. So that was the seed.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened after that?
So Fleet Feet Sports has the Roby Point Aid Station, which is mile 99 of Western States 100. And I've worked it, I think, about 5 years. And I remember the first year I worked it, and don't know when that was, but I remember seeing the people come through, and they're at mile 99, and they're still smiling. Some are in a really bad place, but they've just run 99 miles, and they've got a mile to go. And they are doing something which I think is just absolutely remarkable, to go 100 miles through those mountains on those trails. And I remember people come through, and it's not, I think people have the misconception that they're all elite runners, they're all 24, and they're all skinny and have 0% body fat. That's not the case. It's all ages, all body shapes, it's all different people. And I remember seeing those people come through and going, if these guys can do it, I was like, I think I can do it. And then that really planted the seed, which turned into an 18-month plan of kind of trying to get me there later on.
What year might that have been?
I'm not sure. I ended up doing Western States in 2011. So volunteering at that first race 5 years and seeing those people going, I think I can do this. And I was like, I think I want to do it. But that really never fueled the fire until I started doing more running, more trail running, knew more people that did Western States, learned more about it, kind of dove into the trail running community a little bit more, and then realized if you're a trail runner and you're an aspiring ultra runner, I think Western States is kind of the ultimate goal.
Okay. So this is new, this ultra Western States. Have you run any other hundreds?
No, that's the only one. Might be the only one I ever do.
Okay. Now, because you have Tyler, and is this going to change things for you?
It's running and training for 100 is a big time commitment. I enjoy racing all distances. I think in an 18-month time span, I ran from 5K to 100 miles, every distance I could in between.
What's your best?
I
Distance?
think I'm best from 13 miles to 18 miles, so from half marathon to a 30K.
Okay.
To me, that's a really good distance where I can push the pace fairly hard, and and you're not out there all day. The training's not super hectic. So I think I've done 5 races this year that are 10K to 30K distance.
Okay. So 30K's been the longest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been fun. I'll race
Way
any
to cool?
distance. I've done that 3 times.
This year, not this year, though?
No, I did past 3 years.
Okay. Because that's 50K.
Yep.
So you.
I like it. It's in my backyard. I'm less than a mile from the course.
You are right. You are right there. You have to do it. Well, Julie's the race director, so
It's phenomenal. Great race.
So let's talk a little bit about shoes. I want to ask you a little bit about the French shoe, the Hoka, and if somebody has one of the players that I've been interviewing, Reggie McKenzie. He was an offensive guard for the Buffalo Bills, and when O.J. set that record, that rushing record of 2,000 plus yards, he was part of the electric company, which is they turned on the juice. Was basically that O.J. Anyway, so Reggie's he's still a big guy, and he's got difficulty walking with his feet, and I'm wondering if a shoe like the Hoka would be, because he's in sales too, and so I'm wondering tell us a little bit about the Hoka, and maybe you think something like that might be helpful to a big person.
Yeah, well, I think we're in a good spot right now in the running industry, and in the shoes and the shoe trends. Is if you go to a race, a trail race or a road race, you're going to see really the full spectrum. I've done races where 5Ks where I've seen people running barefoot, and then I've done races where I've seen people wear the Hoka. And for people that don't know, the Hoka is they make a trail and road running version, but it is 1.5 to 2.5 times the cushioning of a regular shoe. So if you look at a regular shoe, it's got this much midsole, which is the cushioning. The Hoka literally has that much. It's borderline 3 inches of cushioning.
Okay.
It's a lot. And people will gravitate towards that shoe a lot of times in a longer distance. If you're running Western States, if you're doing a 50K, a 50 miler, and sometimes a marathon, that pounding that your body and your joints, especially as you age, takes, that hurts. So a lot of people will use the Hoka with all that cushioning, and they will use it as their shock absorber. So instead of running a minimal shoe that has no cushioning, they'll go to a maximum cushioning shoe to kind of reduce that pounding on their body. It's a great fitting shoe. You would think too is that you would lose efficiency in a big shoe like that. It's within 1 ounce of a standard shoe. It's got a ton of cushioning. The bottom of it actually has a rocker effect. So it's not completely flat. So it's kind of bowed a little bit, which actually makes for a really good, smooth ride. So a lot of people will buy it who have joint issues, who are running longer distance, or who want something that's just a nice, plush, soft cushion ride. It's a really fascinating shoe, and it's really the only shoe right now on the market that is like that.
So that even though he's not a runner in terms of trail run, that might work for him.
Yeah.
Just because of all the cushioning.
If you spend time on your feet and there's issues at the end of that day from spending time on your feet, I think
Okay.
a lot of times having more cushioning or more support can be very beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tell us about some of the running shoes that you like and would recommend.
I think I'm very fortunate is that I get to run in a lot of shoes.
Okay.
For companies when you're in the specialty running businesses, they want you to run in it. They want you to like it, because if you like it and you run in it, well, then I'm going to tell you about it, and I'm going to tell you why I like it. So I've got a lot of shoes at home. Right now, I've got kind of a quiver of shoes. I like what Saucony has. They've got a couple good shoes. The Kinvara Trail and the Peregrine are two I go to. Perlazumi's got some new shoes out. They've been in the shoe business for a while, but they've got some new shoes that aren't minimal. It's kind of a flatter ride, but it's got good cushion.
Mm-hmm.
I'll run in really anything and try any shoe.
Okay.
In a week's time, I might run in, 6 different shoes and wear another 10 at work just to try out.
So if you're interested in running, even walking, right?
Anything.
Trail,
Yes.
hiking, we didn't get into some of your hiking
Beginners to
experiences,
veterans.
or hunting, then certainly look up our guest here, Fleet Feet, and you'll see on our screen, you'll see the address and how to reach Kirk.
Thank you.
Anything you want to tell the
No,
folks?
it's specialty running business it's come in. It shouldn't be a scary trip. We understand and we know what a beginner runner needs. Beginner to veteran, we want to help you and help guide you, and it's not heavy sales. It should be a fun experience, and it should be a good casual conversation where we learn about you, and then we figure out your goals, and we try to help you, guide you to those.
Terrific. Kirk's the guy. If you live in Roseville, this went off, I was going to say, see Jenny, but
Yep.